Mr. Bean and his legendary faces, hilarious clumsiness, and very British humor have been making the whole world laugh for years. So much so that this mythical role has definitely stuck to the skin of the actor who plays it, Rowan Atkinson. If on television, you got used to seeing Mr. Bean in his modest house, always dressed in his cheesy tweed suit, or driving an old-fashioned Mini Cooper. Well, let us tell you that in real life, the person behind this completely crazy and wacky character is actually a rich billionaire with a great penchant for luxury things. Make yourself comfortable today. We're going to show you how this Rowan Atkinson, aka Mr. Bean, spends all these lovely millions. Let's get started. Retrospective on the life of Mr. Bean. Rowan Sebastian Atkinson was born in Consett, England, on January 6, 1955. He grew up in a family of 4 children, of which he is the youngest. He studied at the University of Newcastle, where he obtained a degree in electrical engineering. He continued his studies at Queen's College in Oxford, where he obtained a master's degree in electrical engineering and became an engineer. In 1976, he met the Oxford Revue, a group of student actors, and through them, he became known at the Edinburgh Festival. He then began his career in a completely different field, but one that obviously did him quite well. He made his debut on the radio comedy show, The Atkinson People, on BBC Radio 3, in which Rowan played roles of fictional great men. Also, for the same channel, Rowan Atkinson will make a name for himself on the television show, Not the 9 O'Clock News. Following this, in 1983, he landed the lead role in a comedy series, Blackadder. But the role of his life, it is in 1990 that he will have it, since he will dress the legendary character of Mr. Bean. The general public discovers then Rowan Atkinson under a different angle, in the role of a big dumb, very left-wing child. And above all a little clumsy on the edges. And that's what made the success of the series. A success that will continue until 1995. That same year, he will have the opportunity to double the voice of the bird Zazu in The Lion King, and will even sing a song for the cartoon. 2 years later, the character of Mr. Bean reappears, this time on the big screen with the film, Mr. Bean: The Ultimate Disaster Movie. Once again, it was a success. In 2002, he appeared in the fantasy film, Scooby-Doo, and a year later in the successful romantic comedy, Love Actually, and then took on another of his greatest roles. The one of the catastrophic spy, Johnny English, which he will take up again in 2011 with Johnny English Reborn, and in 2018 with Johnny English Strikes Again. In 2007, he put on his famous tweed suit for the return of the legendary Mr. Bean in the movie, Mr. Bean's Holiday. In 2012, the most British of actors made an appearance, to say the least, very noticed during the opening ceremony of the London Olympic Games, playing a small comic number with the London Symphony Orchestra, parodying the British film, The Chariots of Fire. But apart from a few rare reappearances, such as in the Chinese comedy film, Huan Le Shi Ju Ren, or in the sequel of the Johnny English saga, Rowan Atkinson has moved on to much more dramatic roles since 2016. He will notably embody the features of the emblematic character of Commissioner Maigret, in the series of investigation TV films of the same name. As far as his personal life with Mr. Bean goes, this is a little less fun. Rowan Atkinson, who until then led a peaceful life with his wife and 2 children Lily and Benjamin, experienced marital problems that led him to divorce in 2015. Indeed, he separated from his wife Sunitra Sastry, following a story of infidelity. And yes, who would have thought that from Mr. Bean? But he is quickly seen, some time later, in the arms of the actress Louise Ford, a young woman 28 years younger than him, whom he met during the rehearsals of the play Quatermain's Terms. It was with her, moreover, that he had the famous extramarital relationship. In December 2017, Rowan Atkinson becomes for the 3rd time the father of little Isla. And as our dear British man masters all his roles perfectly, he decided in 2019 to take a break in his career to better ensure his father's career. The richest man of the British. As you can imagine, with a career filled with so much success, Rowan Atkinson has made money from it. His personal fortune is now estimated at about $135 million. This makes him the richest television personality in the UK. Oh my god. But don't worry. You can't make Mr. Bean's faces and make millions that easily. To acquire such a fortune, Rowan Atkinson still had to wet his shirt. Apart from his acting career, our dear Mr. Bean has a nose for business. Indeed, he was the proud owner of 15% of a British production company called TigerAspect. This company was also behind the comedy series, Mr. Bean, as well as the films, Billy Elliot, and Murphy's Law. And when the company changed ownership in 2006, Rowan Atkinson would have received €5.2 million out of more than €33 million. Added to this is the astronomical income the actor receives from his television appearances. By the way, the Mr. Bean series alone would have earned his performer some €12.6 million, all nice and round. As for the series, Blackadder, it would have allowed him to earn an income of more than €1 million. Rowan Atkinson also owns a company called Heinmich, which is said to have brought him a total of more than $16 million in recent years. Not forgetting, of course, the many commercials for which he has been the muse. All in all, the English actor is said to receive an annual salary of $20 million. It is therefore understandable why the actor decided to suspend his activities. He has plenty of money to live on for the rest of his life. That is if his great passion for cars doesn't make him do crazy things. Because, indeed, it may surprise you, but Mr. Bean is not as old-fashioned as one might think. He has a taste for luxury. A big fan of racing cars. And no, you don't have to be young, strong, and ultra-stylish to own a garage full of luxury cars. All you need is 135 million Rowan Atkinsons. Since he was a child, the English actor has had a mad passion for cars. You may have noticed it. In the show, Mr. Bean's car has an important place in the episodes, so much so that it could even be considered as a character in its own right. This Mini Cooper 1000, very cute, but also very outdated, showed bravery. And to say the least, Mr. Bean is very fond of it. Well, it looks like fiction in this case isn't so different from reality, since Rowan Atkinson is very fond of his fleet of the world's most luxurious and fastest cars. With Mr. Bean's fortune, the actor can afford to go crazy and buy cars at astronomical prices. Now we understand how Mr. Bean spends his millions. In 1997 he already owned a Formula 1 McLaren estimated at €750,000, a car that unfortunately crashed in Lancashire 2 years later, after colliding with an Austin Metro and Cabus during a race. What a waste. But Rowan Atkinson was still able to sell it in 2015 for €10.7 million, after spending nearly €1 million on repairs. Nothing is too good for Rowan's little darling. Since the McLaren was a rare car and its value was very high, the insurance company exceptionally agreed to have it repaired. Lucky Rowan. But it takes more than that to panic the most British of the English, who has a nice bunch of luxury cars to replace the McLaren. Its fleet consists of an Audi A8, a green Ferrari 456 GT, a Bentley Mulsanne, a Skoda Superb, a Ford Falcon, a Jaguar MK7, a Honda Acura NSX, a Honda Civic Hybrid for racing, an Aston Martin DB7 Vantage and an Aston Martin V8 Zagato. Phew, we're out of breath. Rowan Atkinson's love of speed is so great that he has already competed in several car races, including the Renault Clio Cup for 2 consecutive seasons in a Renault 5 GT Turbo. And to drive all these cars, Rowan Atkinson has armed himself with all types of licenses, including the Class C+E truck license, which he got in 1981, because, by the way, he's also passionate about trucks. At the time, the actor confided that it made him more attractive on the job market and that it was a skill in addition to knowing how to drive big machines, especially when shooting comedy sequences. Anyway, it's a lot of work. Dream houses. Before divorcing his first wife, Rowan Atkinson owned a beautiful and luxurious family home in South Oxfordshire, England. It was valued at approximately $4 million. The house had no less than 5 beautiful bedrooms, 3 large reception rooms, and an indoor pool, heated of course. And outside there was a tennis court, surrounded by over 24,000 meters of the lawn. A prestigious and exceptional property dating back to 1777, which exuded a classic Georgian stamp combined with ultra-modern architecture. He had bought this house for the modest sum of £1 million. But unfortunately, he had to part with it because of his divorce. And yes, that's the price to pay for being in the arms of a 32-year-old brunette. There were rumors at the time that the actor wanted to sell his house, that he was trying to bail out the house before his divorce. Because to end his first marriage, he most certainly had to put his hand in his pocket. But that doesn't make any sense since Rowan Atkinson also owns other homes in London, as well as on other committees. Surely a $4 million villa wouldn't ruin Mr. Bean, would it? After his divorce, Rowan Atkinson moved to Handsmouth House in Ipston near Wallingford. A luxurious home that includes a living room, kitchen, breakfast room, and more. There is also a living room, a half-cellar, and a family room with a bedroom and study. It also has an indoor swimming pool, plus a 4-bay garage to accommodate its entire fleet of cars, a greenhouse, tennis courts, and gardens. Now you know where all of Mr. Bean's millions are going. So surprised? Tell us in the comments what you think about how Mr. Bean spends his millions.